This is Pie Crust 101. So we're on location, and I am with Mom, or
Luann,
in my childhood home. What kind of lesson are we going to teach on this video today?
we're going to teach how to make pie crust.
From scratch.
Right.
All right. On Doug Cooking.
There you go.
So how many times have we baked a pie together?
0.
0.
Okay.
And I think what's unusual today, how many pies are we going to make?
2. Oh, well.
This is really low
Well,
quantity.
2, 4, whatever. If I'm going to a reunion or something,
How
I can
many
make
would-
6 to 8.
6 to 8. So this is also probably why you're a shortening kind of girl,
Yeah.
because if you were doing butter crusts, that would not,
Yeah,
that wouldn't work out.
yeah, I like my Crisco.
Do you have the pie crust recipe like memorized in your
Oh
head?
yeah, it's simple. Anybody could
Okay.
make this.
All right.
This recipe makes 2 crusts. So it'll make 1 covered pie or 2,
Perfect.
pumpkin or whatever.
So
2 cups of flour,
yes.
teaspoon of salt,
Uh-huh.
1 cup of Crisco,
Okay.
and
Shortening.
yeah,
If
Crisco
that
shortening.
you're not available to have.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then 2/3 cup of cold water.
So you know what else? By using the shortening, this crust is dairy-free. It's actually vegan, so if that's important to anybody.
Right.
It doesn't have any eggs in it.
What about this?
What about
Flour. That's okay?
It comes from a plant, so it's
Okay.
vegetarian. I love it. What kind of flour do you like? I like this brand too, but it's hard to find now.
I like Robin Hood. They quit making it
For a while,
around
you couldn't
here.
find it.
But now I can find it at my local grocer. The only one that I could find that came close is King Arthur.
And that's what I
And
use.
King Arthur, it makes a nice crust that doesn't fall apart or anything like that. And that's the way this always was.
So for master pie maker,
Yeah.
Robin Hood flour if you can find it, King Arthur
Arthur.
if you can't.
You can find King Arthur for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to do the 2 cups of flour, and I sifted my flour. I have an old-fashioned sifter, which I love. It works perfect.
I like that sifter.
Yeah, it's really old. So there's 2 cups, and then I go ahead and put my salt in there. So you need a teaspoon of salt.
So you just use
You just-
regular
I
like
just use
table
regular
salt,
regular table salt.
not like some kind
And
of...
then sift that.
Okay.
I like to get it all. So after you do your flour and your salt, you add a cup of shortening, and I use the Crisco shortening. So you just put that in.
When you fill that up, do you like pack it?
I pack
Kind of
it.
like a brown sugar?
I pack it, yes.
Yeah.
And it always works, so
You don't weigh things out.
No.
You just use your measures.
I just measure. I like that cup because it
Yep.
works good. And then after you get that in there, you have to use your
Pastry
pastry
cutter?
blender. Yeah. So you blend that up till it's nice and crumbly. So if you want to crumble it good, the pastry blender is the best.
You never use just your fingers or something.
Well, I do to get the
Yeah.
Crisco done.
No, but I mean, like, I just made scones recently. It doesn't use a
Okay.
lot of butter, but I actually break it up with the tips of my fingers.
Oh, well, this
That's
is so
not-
greasy. I
Well,
don't know if I'd
and
want
you're usually making so much.
Yeah.
Get down in there.
It's pretty crumbly. And then you need cold water, and that's what makes it stick together good.
How much cold water?
2/3 cup. So I have to get that out of the refrigerator because it has to be cold. So I'm going to just pour this in, take a fork, and you're going to just mix it together till it's all sticking together real nice. Sometimes if I use too much water, you can always use some flour on your hand and get it to work the way you want it to.
Okay.
This gets to a nice sticky consistency. So there's how sticky it gets, and that's plenty. I mean, you don't really need to work it too much. I separate it into 2 and use flour. Okay, and I make sure I have flour all over my hands before I get my dough, and I take half of it and I make it into a ball like that. Then I take the other half because I want to make sure they're even. So I do it right away to get the 2 balls of flour.
You're just eyeballing this.
Yeah, I'm
so
just eyeballing it. And you can, I mean, you'll know when you set them beside each other.
This
So
looks like,
sometimes I'll take some off of one and put it on another.
yeah, it's a little bit bigger than a baseball.
Yes.
And if somebody's really like obsessive, like sometimes I am, I could weigh,
Like
just
sometimes
weigh
I
it.
am.
I could weigh it. You could weigh it, right?
Yes.
But I don't usually
I don't
do that.
I don't either. Now I think I took too much.
It's okay.
You can have it.
No, I like that part. But
Okay,
that's it.
but
I mean,
that's
that's
okay.
it. You just you
Yeah.
practice.
And I'm going to
you-
put that back in there because
Do you-
we're just
but-
going to work with one.
If you haven't done a lot of pies and you're working with shortening, it's very forgiving. Like you don't have to worry about it getting too soft.
Right.
Like with butter, you have to chill it in
Yes.
between all this. And
I
that's
never have time to chill pies.
Right.
Pie dough, so
Well,
this
'cause
works really good for
literally
me.
because you're usually making 6 to 8
And
for like
then-
a group of 8 people.
Right. That's right. And then I kind of form it so your edges when you're rolling it out,
You
so
got a
they're
head-
more
You
uniform.
got a head
because
start.
it's a little bit hard to do some flour on this side and flip it onto your mat and then put flour on the other side before you start to roll out because you don't want it sticking to your rolling pin. Then you have to flour your pin.
Okay.
So I just go till I get a nice round circle. So you have to just keep working it
No.
out.
So
and
you,
it,
I
it
noticed,
rolls out really nice.
but you're starting kind of from the middle with every
Yes.
stroke.
Yes.
You're not going back and forth.
Right,
Too much.
because if you don't, you'll get all these
Cracks.
jaggy edges that are hard to fix after you put it in your pan.
And what are you going for here in terms of a round?
Well, maybe 10 or 12. I just kind of know by looking at it myself.
It's about like what, a 1/4 inch thick, 1/8 of an inch.
Eighth probably. By the time you get it rolled out nice.
It's real forgiving.
I mean, that's probably enough.
Yeah.
A lot of people will put their pie shell dough onto their rolling pin to put it in their plates, but I can't do that. It never works for me. So I take my pie dough, flip it back, put my plate over right in front of me, and you just have to practice sometimes to do that. But you can put it on the rolling pin and roll it, but it works so good that I just do it this way.
It looks really
It's easier
easy.
for me.
Yeah. But I think the other thing that people make a mistake is you don't ever stretch it at this point. You lift up those edges
Right.
and let them
If
fall
you stretch it, it'll fall apart.
Yeah, but what you're doing is you're lifting up the edge and letting it fall into the pan.
Right.
So it's flat up against the edges in the corner.
Right. You turn this in under so you have a little bit to crimp.
Are
So,
you not really trimming too much excess?
No, I'm
off?
not trimming any excess.
None.
I don't trim any unless it's really, really hanging over the edge, but
Mm-hmm.
usually it's not.
So
Especially for like a pumpkin pie because that outer shell sometimes gets pretty dark on the edge.
so you're not crimping yet. You're just
No,
turning.
I'm just turning
like
it
you s-
under so I have something to crimp.
Yeah. So you started on this side and you just turn under. You have a nice thick edge then.
Yes.
You would only do this step with a single crust, though, right? What would be different here if you were doing a fruit pie, an
So-
apple pie, or a cherry pie, or a
Yes.
peach?
Yes.
cream
And when you're
pies?
making a fruit pie,
Yes.
you do not have to do this.
Okay.
Before you do anything with the rest of the crust, you fill your shell with what fruit you're going to use.
Okay.
And then you put your top on, and
Ah.
then you fold under.
All right, that looks really good, right?
Okay, so all you have to do now is crimp it because you're going to fill it with pumpkin. So you just do your crimping.
All right.
Just pinch in.
Three-
Take these two fingers and take your thumbs and push up.
So you use both fingers and
Yeah,
both
I
thumbs.
use 2 fingers and then your thumbs you push up.
All right.
It's real easy. You get a nice little edge there.
That looks good.
That's the last.
That
Okay,
looks
and
good.
then sometimes I'll just pat around the top
And why?
just so it's not real thick right there.
That looks really, really professional, Mom.
Thank you, Doug. I mean, you have to practice.
Yeah.
Like my first pie crust were not very good.
Uh-huh.
And I actually got a pie crust recipe from Lois Schreckengost.
Mm-hmm.
And I do use a little bit more water than she did, but her crusts were always perfect, and that's the one I keep using.
This is actually the family that lives just down the hill
Yeah.
here, and I like that we've both the pumpkin pie and as well as the crust we got
Right.
from them.
If we were making a cream pie to fill with like pudding or something,
Mm-hmm.
you would punch holes in it.
Yes. What you're talking about is if you're doing a blind bake.
Right.
If we were going to blind bake this, you would want to put some holes in the bottom.
Yes.
What they call
Because it'll
dock-
puff all up
docket.
and it won't.
Yeah.
You put some holes in the bottom, and then I do around the inside of the.
Do you have to put
Dish.
any weights in?
I don't. It works fine.
It works fine.
Yeah, because you
You've
punch
done
holes
the-
in the bottom, it's not going to do anything.
And if you were doing a cream pie, how long would you blind bake it?
20 minutes,
At what temperature?
350.
And is that what we're baking even
We're
today?
going to, Yeah, well, no, not the pumpkin. It's all different.
It's all different.
We'll get
But
into
for a
that.
blind bake, you dock it with some holes after this, a little bit of the sides and the bottom, and you bake it at 350 for, what did you say?
20 minutes.
Okay.
It doesn't look real dark, but it's baked and it's flaky.
Yeah.
If you bake it too much, I don't know. I don't like it real brown. Sometimes if you're making a meringue, you know, filling with
'cause
meringue, you have to put it back in the oven and it gets darker.
These are other episodes when we do
Right.
cream pies and your meringue
Right.
topping. What kind of cream pie? I know we do coconut cream, but you also do chocolate cream.
Chocolate coconut cream.
What about the peanut butter pie?
Peanut butter pie,
Would
you
you
just
blind
have
bake
to
it?
bake the shell first and then fill it. So it has to be baked.
So other episodes.
Right. Right.
All right.
Okay, Doug, we're going to do another pie shell. So we'll roll this one out. Same.
And so I looked at your little marker. You are rolling them out to like a 10-inch
Yeah, at least a 10, 11 inch, so you have some to hang over.
I hope I don't mess you up.
No, you're not.
Whose
This
dish
is
this?
your dish, so.
So I can take home the second one.
Okay.
Did I do that all right for you?
No, you're fine. I mean, this crust is so easy to work with that you can move it around.
Yeah,
you can move things around.
That is nice.
If your flour's not doesn't have the right glutens, it'll just crumble and fall apart all over the place.
That's what you had some problems with some other brands.
Yes. I can't use certain brands.
Uh-huh.
I won't say
We
what
won't
they
say,
are.
but the ones that she likes, we've mentioned.
Right.
So you're doing the turn under,
I'm turning the
which gives you a
crust
really nice, I think one of the trademarks of your pies is that edge is always like a thick crust, and people really like that when they try your pie, that you've got.
And it's especially thick on a fruit pie
Okay.
because you have double crust.
That is what I remember.
This isn't real thick because it's
No.
just a one layer pie. Okay.
We'll do apple in another video,
Right,
and you can
right.
show people how that comes
Yeah.
together.
Now that'll have a lot thicker crust.
So all you've done is laid it in, and you've turned it under.
Right.
And so now you're ready to crimp.
I'm going to crimp now.
Okay, should I try?
Yeah.
Do I need a little flour
It
in
has
my
to
hands?
go like yeah. Oh yeah.
So you point, your pointers are outside.
Right. Push up.
Okay, but my thumb might be bigger than yours. Maybe I should.
No, you're good. It doesn't matter. It's your pie.
I'm not doing something right here.
You push up.
Push up with the thumbs, like that.
Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, do
One
a
more
couple
time
more.
in front of you.
Do a
see?
couple more.
And then you just push up.
All right, I like
Put
that.
these two fingers sort of like this, and then push up.
Okay.
Okay.
I've seen people like use their.
Some people do just do a
Thumbs.
thumb. I like it this way because it's easier for me.
Yours,
No, yours
you're
is
doing better.
good.
No, you're better.
You have to practice.
I know. I'll do that.
I should make you do this.
I'll do that on my own. Well, this looks good. And then when you get back to the start, you just might adjust
Yeah,
it
we're
a little
going to
bit.
fix this. We got too big of a gap here, I think. Okay.
That looks great.
And then, like I said, sometimes I'll pat around the top where you did that so there's no lines.
So
There you go.
there's our pie crust. I think this was my edge. Gotta fix this little crimp. What are you doing right now?
Oh, making toasted cheese sandwiches for you
We're gonna
and
do
me.
We're gonna do that before we do the pie filling. Yeah, what is that?
Homemade tomato soup by your sister.
Oh, that's
Lori.
good. Was this down in the
was-
larder of
Down in
canned
the-
goods?
Yes.
Maybe I'll go take a look at that.
It's dark back in there. I think they might be
I
done.
think they're done. That looks good.
Your pie plate's easier to get a hold
Well,
of.
that's it. It's harder to crimp, but it's
Yeah.
easier to hold.
Let me put
Nice, nice. So, what's the problem we have now?
Eating it.
Yeah, because we have to wait until it cools, and I have to go.
He has to leave.
So I'm going to thank you. You made a pie in my pie
In
plate.
your plate, so you can take it home.
And I will make homemade whipped cream.
There you go.
Who's going to eat
But
yours?
guess what? I can't make homemade whipped cream, but I have some
In a can.
in a can.
Well, that's totally fine. So we're not quite at Thanksgiving yet. So who's gonna have a slice of this pie when they get home?
Papa for sure.
Yeah, my dad.
Papa
for
for sure.
#1 fan.
Yes. And then Lori and Crisco. Christian and Nathan.
My sister
probably.
and my nephews. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe. The nephews are picky. They're probably going to have your...
I think they like pumpkin pie.
Do they?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
that's
they
good.
do.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I want your opinion now when you get home
Oh, well,
to let me know how it tasted.
You know, I've had this before.
Yeah,
I've never
but you
made
didn't
one.
have this one
This was
before.
good. All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right,
Bye.
bye. Mwah, thank you.